Shane. Thank you for your time. Not far away now from Chris's big fight in Saudi Arabia. Just tell us how you're feeling. What's the mood like in camp?
Yeah, feeling great. You know, he's been performing really well. It's his first unification fight. He's had a lot of hurdles in the last couple of years. First world title, first stadium, another stadium away day. Now first fight in Saudi Arabia and a unification. So, but he's taken every single one in his stride, and he's just seen it as a nice little challenge and something he can really get focused in on, and that's definitely what he's done.
What are you expecting from Gilberto Ramirez? Because he's moved up through the weight divisions. This is only his kind of like second fight, true fight at cruiserweight. What are you expecting him to bring on the night?
Yeah, it's his third fight at cruiser, but he's going to bring a slightly smaller man volume of punches, you know, where he's used to fighting at a higher tempo. He's used to throwing a few more combinations and not being... It's like heavyweights and cruiserweights, they have to really work hard to get your shots off, and when you do deliver the shots, it's normally big eye-catching punches. But, you know, one of the things that Chris has always worked really well at is he doesn't load up with shots, and he's the guy that puts the volume in. Now he's in against another guy that puts the volume in, so he has to be extra switched on. That's why I said this could be a bigger banana skin than someone like Opatea, because you know what you're getting with Opatea with the feet, and you're going to have to work hard for your shots. But you're going to get a lot of shots against this guy. It's just knowing when to land hard and not exhaust yourself out, because he's going to have a high tempo the whole way through the 12.
Do you believe Chris has got enough to be able to drop someone like Ramirez?
Well, he's never been dropped before, and he's a Mexican, so he's tough as nails. Do you know what I mean? It's in the blood. So we can't go in there expecting to get a knockout or a stoppage. You know, he's been in there with Bivol, and Bivol just outpointed him. He's not Dimitri Bivol, though, Chris Billam-Smith. He stands there and has more of a go than Bivol, so he's going to be getting hit more, but he's going to be landing, probably a bit more eye-catching, devastating shots. But you saw against Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez has a chin on him like granite. So, you know, we're going to have to target other areas than the chin.
With Southpaws, this being kind of Chris's first true professional Southpaw fight, how have you had to kind of manipulate the camp a bit differently to, you know, make sure that he's as best prepared to go in there with someone with that different stance?
Yeah, just replicating shot selection. You know, the right hand's closer to you because, you know, they're in that southpaw stance. So you have to change the angle of the right hand throughout camp, and obviously with sparring and stuff like that. But through the pad work and through the sparring, it can be replicated, but it's never the same. You know, you're never going to get two individuals equal. So as much as we can try and get good sparring, it's never going to be Zurdo Ramirez. So we're going to have to turn up a little bit unknown, as you always do. And obviously Zurdo's got more experience, but he's never boxed a guy like Chris that's as big as Chris, that puts the volume in and fights at that intensity. So it's unknown for him as well. It's just going to be a great fight.
With boxing, we've seen a few of Chris's big wins being slightly controversial scorecards. And I just wanted to ask your opinion, because I remember seeing your reaction when those cards were read out at Southpaws Park, and you just kind of looked disbelief as to how one of the judges scored it, how it was, and how close it was scored. And then obviously his win at Vitality Stadium, one of the judges called it a draw, didn't they? Is this something that worries you at all, as far as judging in the sport is concerned, and with Chris?
Yeah, I think because a lot of judges don't quite understand what he's doing in there. You know, his opponents do, because they obviously feel the effects. And most opponents, when they come out of the ring, they have a lot of respect for him. But a lot of the work is in close, and it can go unnoticed. So it's up to us. And also, let's be real. This is a Golden Boy show in Saudi. It's the big night for Zurdo Ramirez. You know, it's a Mexican night. So we're going to have to win this fight, win it well, and that's why, as you said, a stoppage would be the icing on the cake. But you can't go in there expecting one. You know, I believe that every round you fight the round that you're in, and that's the most important thing. You don't look to pace yourself or do anything like that. Like further on down the fight, you've got to fight the round that you're in and make sure every single round you win it. And if you lose a round, you regroup and go again and try and win. And we need to win as many rounds as possible, as clear as possible, and that's obviously always the main aim. But we can't allow fights for him to get tied up and smothered, because that's where he gets a lot of his effective work off, is in close.
When did you first meet him? What were your first impressions of Chris?
I brought him down for sparring session on George Groves' first trial week. So I normally have a trial week with somebody, and within that week we normally do a sparring session. And a guy that used to work for me, Steve, said, I've got this kid from Bournemouth that'll be quite good. He's a cruiserweight, which was 86 at the time. I think it'd be good rounds for George. He's quite a tough kid. So I brought him down, and that's the first time I met him. And then obviously 2 years later, I had been bringing him in for sparring with David Hay and George Groves, and then he asked me to take him professional and turn him professional, and that was when the professional journey started. But it was probably, I want to say, like October, November 2015.
And a lot of people said, "Oh, Chris Billam-Smith, he's only ever going to be a British, European level kind of fighter." Was there a moment when you believed he can be a world level fighter?
It was a gradual process with Chris. It was one that he grew every year. He was getting better, and we was doing better in sparring. And I believe that when amateurs come to me when they've been on the GB setup and they've been boxing internationally, they've kind of figured it out. They're probably 75 to 80% of what they are capable of being as a 100% version of themselves. Whereas Chris literally came to me at like 25, 30%. So every year it was like we're getting small wins, small improvements. We never really put a ceiling on it. We didn't say, okay, let's fight for a British title. We just said, look, let's roll with it, see how far you go, and just got to make sure you dedicate yourself to the sport, and just turn up every day and give 100% every day. And 7.5 years later, he's fighting for unification.
And we've seen all the highs in the ring, those big nights under the lights on TV. Can you tell us about any of the low points? Is there moments you've seen him really, struggle, and how have you kind of seen him and observed him kind of navigate through those times?
I've probably worked with, 20 fighters maybe, and I've never seen as many low points in someone's career as Chris Billam-Smith's. Whether it's been in camp or whether it's been fight opportunities and things like that, and shitty money, and just have to roll with it. That is a testament to him, his character. But that it also gives me a lot of confidence that when we are having a sticky moment in camp when things aren't going well, that he will turn the tide. Whereas you got these other people that are perfectionists that they're so used to winning every spar, every fight, every time they go out running, they're always ahead of everybody. When you get those people, and there's some controversy, they can really affect them. Whereas he's just a resilient guy. He's just been doing it for a long time and knows that he's got to work extra hard and double down extra just to get the same result. And I think that there is the testament of his character.
And just finally, having gone through that journey, seeing the low points to the high, what would it mean to you if Chris Billam-Smith could become unified cruiserweight world champion?
It's a Cinderella story. It already is. Every fight is a win for Chris. Do you know what I mean? And that's not because he's not say he doesn't have the ability. It's just he was a relative unknown. You know what I mean? When he started, and no one put a lot of expectation on him. So we got this far. He's changed his life financially. He's changed his life. He goes in the history books as being a world champion. I mean, he can beat Zurdo Ramirez. That's the truth, and he will win it. And then he goes down as a unified world champion. He rolls the dice once again, but I don't want too many more of these training camps. And we signed a managerial contract about 1.5 years ago, I think it was, and so this better be the last one we're signing, mate, because he's a friend. I don't want to see him go too far, and you can only keep winning so much, and putting your body through these big nights, and biting down the gum shield so many times before it starts catching up with you. And I know that this is not the night that it catches up with him, but I don't want to see that happen. I want to see him go out there with his brain intact. He's got a beautiful family, beautiful wife. Go and enjoy his hard-earned money in a few fights' time.